I'm Alex from Songwriter's Vantage. I just ran into an old friend and someone who's collaborated with me over the years, and we've done gigs together in various odd forms and so forth. John McLean Allan. He's an example of a musician-songwriter, or songwriter-musician, if you will, who's made his living being exactly what he wants to be at any given time in the past bunch of years. Well, a lot of us and you out there have the proverbial day job. Well, this guy has made it work. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about our history together. We've known each other for 15 years, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Something like that. Perhaps a couple years after you came to America from Scotland, and I'll let him tell you. He's got some interesting things to tell. So.
Yeah, I think for me it started out, I was a 8 to 5 worker, factory worker, printer, and I decided one time that I was going to take a chance and jump ship, and I went to school for a year. I went to MI, and that was the first time I'd ever done anything musical full-time, was just to be a full-time student. And at that time I found out that it's not such a lucrative deal being a full-time student, and but I play bagpipes. That's my primary instrument, and as well as all the other stuff. And I found myself playing down in the street at 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica. And I went down there for a couple of days, and I realized after a week of that, I realized I was never going to have a real job again. It was pretty lucrative, and it worked out pretty good. And that was the start of it for me. And I started doing, playing weddings, funerals. I started teaching music. And that grew into, I was a songwriter as well. I was like trying to write country songs or something, and then I played in a traditional Celtic band, the Brown Sisters. Like, we did festivals, and so that was another part of my life. And then I played in a bagpipe band, and I also played in a rock band. So I had all these things going on, and I was with Alex and Franklin and a bunch of other guys at the Jai Joseph Songwriting Group and a Monday Night Group in LA. And
if you don't know what that is, it's sort of similar to Sheryl Crow's Tuesday Night Group, where a bunch of people get together and they brainstorm and they come up with things. And that's kind of what our focus was back then. And Jai gave you an idea, didn't he?
Yeah, Jai was aware that I was doing all this, all these different things, and he said to me, "Hey, if you got a bunch of money to make one CD, and the only requirement was that it had a little bit of everything that you do on it, explain to me the kind of CD that you would make, or describe it to me." And I just went on to describe it to him, and he said, "That's the type of CD you need to make." And so I did. I made my first CD, and I went on to...
But you combined the Celtic thing and the rock thing,
right,
and into one kind of a fused mass.
Right.
Which was very powerful in my estimation.
Yeah, I did. I took I wrote songs, that were songs that I wanted to write, like rock kind of songs, and then I also played bagpipes, and instead of doing like guitar solos and intros with guitar or other instruments, I used bagpipes. And so I had a kind of a Celtic rock kind of theme going through the whole CD, and I did some bagpipe and instrumentals, and some old traditional Scottish and Irish tunes, and combined it so it was like a very cohesive album. So I did the first CD, and then someone heard it and they said, "Hey, will you come and play at our Scottish festival?" And I was like, "Well, I don't have a band," but I didn't tell them that. I said, "Sure, I'll be there," and put a band together, and we did it. And we're now 4 CDs into it. And we've played, and last year we went to Alaska, we went to Canada to play, we've been all over the States. The thing is, it's not a full-time gig, doing one thing. That's the one thing that's made me keep afloat, or helped me stay afloat for since 1995. And it's to have multiple sources of revenue coming in. Like, I could not just be a teacher, like teaching pipes. I could not just be a guy playing weddings and funerals. I couldn't be a guy just playing in the street. I couldn't be a guy that has a band and sells CDs. I couldn't be a guy, that pursues film and TV stuff. I couldn't be one of those guys, or kids music, or you have to be willing to do anything. I have a classic example of a friend of mine who said, he called me up and said, "Hey, we need a sub to come in and play in our band. We're doing a bunch of shows for the Music Center downtown LA." And this is a program where they go into the skills, and he goes, we need someone to play didgeridoo. And I go, I can't play didgeridoo. And he goes, here's a didgeridoo, and here's a how to play didgeridoo CD. Call me in a week. And I went back in a week, and I got the gig as the didgeridoo sub. But that's the kind of stuff that you have to show up and do. I up until recently I played at a local school, a preschool. Just 2 hours a week. I went in there. I've been doing it for like 10 years, and it's great, So, and that again is something that could be turned into, a bigger part of, percentage of income if you were so inclined. I mean, there's kids recordings you can do. I'm not really, into that idea, but because my main focus is really to try and play live and sell product at gigs.